Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just apply it there.
In the smoke-filled arenas of boxing history, legends are forged with fists of iron and wills of steel. We've seen titans clash, trading blows that could fell an oak tree. But what if I told you about a championship fight won without a single punch thrown? A story so bizarre, so unbelievable, it sounds like a tall tale whispered in a dusty gym. This is the story of Gentleman Jimmy, the boxer who conquered a giant by doing absolutely nothing. Our story begins in the gritty underbelly of the fight world. Jimmy wasn't your typical boxer. He wasn't big, he wasn't a powerhouse, and frankly, his punches lacked any real sting. What he did have was an almost supernatural ability to read his opponents, to anticipate their moves, and to move with a grace that bordered on dance. His footwork was mesmerizing, his head movement was a blur, and his guard was as impenetrable as a fortress wall. His trainer, a grizzled old-timer named Pops, saw something unique in him. "Kid," he'd say, "you can't break a brick wall with your fists, but you can make the wall break itself trying to hit you." This philosophy became Jimmy's creed. While Jimmy was perfecting his art of evasion, the heavyweight division was ruled by a force of nature. His name was Ricardo El Martillo Vargas, the reigning champion. El Martillo, the hammer, and the name fit. He was a mountain of a man from Mexico, with a reputation for brutal, relentless aggression. His fights were short, explosive, and often ended with his opponents seeing stars on the canvas. He had knockout power in both hands and a chin carved from granite. He was the unstoppable force, a storm of fury that swept through every challenger. Nobody took Jimmy seriously as a contender. The press mocked him. Commentators called him a dancing fool and a runner. How could a fighter who barely threw a punch hope to stand against the hammer? But through a series of tactical masterpieces, outlasting and frustrating opponent after opponent, Jimmy climbed the ranks. He won fights on points not by landing blows, but by making his opponents miss so spectacularly they'd punch themselves out. He was an anomaly, a puzzle no one could solve. And then the unthinkable happened. Through a bizarre twist of fate and a few lucky breaks, Jimmy found himself as the #1 contender. The stage was set for a championship showdown, Gentleman Jimmy versus Ricardo El Martillo Vargas. From the moment the bell rang for round 1, the champion came out like a raging bull, just as everyone predicted. He charged across the ring, throwing haymakers with vicious intent. He was looking for a first-round knockout to silence the critics and put this dancer in his place. But Jimmy was a ghost. He wasn't there. Vargas's gloves met nothing but air, the thud of them hitting the empty space echoing through the arena. The crowd, initially roaring for blood, grew quiet, then intrigued. Round 2, 3, and 4 were a carbon copy. Vargas pressed forward, a whirlwind of leather, his face a mask of grim determination. He was a phantom, always one step ahead. The champion's frustration was becoming visible. He started loading up even more on his punches, swinging wildly, hoping to catch the elusive challenger with just one single blow. But that one blow never landed. With every miss, Vargas expended enormous amounts of energy. A small grunt escaped his lips with each failed attempt, his heavy breathing now audible between rounds. By the middle rounds, the dynamic of the fight had completely shifted. The hunter had become the hunted, not by punches, but by exhaustion. Vargas's movements grew sluggish. His once fearsome punches became slower, easier for Jimmy to see and avoid. The champion's face was flushed, sweat pouring down in rivers. He leaned on the ropes, trying to catch his breath, while Jimmy, looking as fresh as he did in the first round, calmly circled him. The crowd started chanting Jimmy's name, mesmerized by his incredible display of endurance and skill. In the corner, Pops was calm. "He's breaking, kid," he whispered to Jimmy. "He's breaking his own heart. Just keep dancing. Don't give him a target." On the other side of the ring, Vargas's corner was in a panic. They screamed at him to cut off the ring, to go to the body, to do anything to stop this humiliating dance. But Vargas was running on empty. His pride was the only thing keeping him on his feet. He had trained for a fight, a brawl, a war of attrition through punches. The championship rounds arrived, round 10, then 11. Vargas was a shadow of his former self. His arms felt like lead, his legs like jelly. He would stumble forward, throw a lazy punch that Jimmy would effortlessly parry, and then clinch, just to hold himself up.
The champion.
The feared El Martillo was being completely neutralized without his opponent laying a single glove on him in anger. He looked over at his corner, his eyes pleading. He had nothing left to give. His power, his aggression, his entire identity as a fighter had been rendered useless. Then the bell rang to end the 12th and final round. Vargas, utterly defeated and completely gassed, collapsed onto his stool. He couldn't stand. His corner team surrounded him, fanning him with towels, trying to revive him, but it was no use. The fight was over. Vargas, the mighty champion, could not answer the bell for the 13th round. He had quit on his stool. The referee walked over to Jimmy's corner, raised his hand, and the arena exploded. Jimmy stood in the center of the ring, not a mark on his face, his arms raised in victory. He didn't defeat Vargas with his fists. He defeated him with his mind and his movement. It remains one of the most astonishing victories in sports history, a testament to the idea that there is more than one way to win a fight. It proved that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a punch, but the ability to not get hit at all. Thanks so much for watching this incredible story with us. What do you think? Was this the greatest strategic victory of all time? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable tales from the world of sports.
Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just kind of